ESPN presents the 1992 Southeastern Conference Women's Gymnastics Championships. A year ago, the Lady Bulldogs of the University of Georgia rose up to nip the previously undefeated Alabama Crimson Tide for the SEC title. But Alabama came back to exact revenge in the NCAA Championships, claiming their second national crown in 4 years in front of a home crowd. Today at Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the two clash again on the road to the NCAA title at the Southeastern Conference Women's Gymnastics Championship. Hello once again, everyone. I'm Bob Varsha. Welcome inside the Maravich Center. Just how tough is the SEC in women's gymnastics? Well, 5 of the 6 teams in the conference went to last year's national championships, where they finished 1st, 3rd, 6th, 7th, and 9th, and swept all 5 individual championships. But there's more at stake here today. No women's gymnastic team has ever gone undefeated to a national title. Last year, the only blot on Alabama's copybook was their loss in this meet by 5/100ths of a point to Georgia. This year, it is the Lady Bulldogs who come in with a clean slate, and you can bet Alabama would like nothing better than to return the favor. Can they do it? Well, for more on that, we turn to our ESPN gymnastics expert, a veteran of many years of American and international competition, Wendy Hilliard. How about it, Wendy? Can Georgia pull it off?
They sure can. They've got a strong team. But Alabama is coming in as the NC2A defending champion, so their girls really know how to win. But Georgia has the S squad: Hope Spivey, Heather Stepp, and Agina Simpkins.
What individual standouts will we be looking for today?
Well, let's look to Dee Foster. She was the NC2A champion in 1990. She's an explosive tumbler, a dynamic vaulter, and she's really pushing the limits as far as the difficulty is concerned. But then there's a 1988 Olympian, Hope Spivey. Now, Hope has actually gotten better since the Olympic Games, and she has some super moves to show us on both the uneven bars and the floor, so it's going to be great.
Let's talk about scoring a little bit. There will be 6 women on each team. The top 5 scores will count toward the team title, and each can earn a perfect 10. Let's describe how that's arrived at, Wendy.
To get a perfect 10, you've got to first get through the difficulty. The difficulty itself is worth 3.0. The execution, 5.1, and the composition of the routine is worth 1.5. That totals 9.6, but to go for a 10, you can get 3 10s for originality, and if you have a really difficult move, which we call a natural D, you can add 1/10 for the perfect 10.
There have been 10 scored in SEC competition this year, and more may await today. We'll be back for the first rotation when we return to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Back at the Maravich Assembly Center on the campus of LSU for the SEC Women's Gymnastics Championship, we'll begin with a look at the defending national champions for Alabama. Their coach, Sarah Patterson, became pregnant last year and was asked to leave the gym by her doctors. We asked Teen Patterson what the impact of Sarah's absence was.
I think the biggest difference with my absence in the gym was when we were competing. And I think David is always spotting and coaching the girl that's up on the event. And I've noticed that maybe the 2nd or 3rd girl up, I'm usually talking to them and calming them down and relaxing them. And I think it was a big difference with me not in the gym because the girls were trying to do that for each other. And David could only handle one girl at a time, the one that he was spotting. So I really feel like that was the biggest difference. And since I've been back, I think the girls maybe are a little more confident, a little more settled. And we're all just happy right now.
Well, having said that, we should point out that Sarah's husband and assistant coach, David Patterson, took the team to a 7-2 record in her absence. There you see the team on the floor, Coach Patterson in the middle, rooting her ladies on. The next performer up for the defending national champions will be Dee Foster, the 1990 NCAA all-around champion.
And she's definitely a strong bar performer. Look at those positions. Great. You have to make sure and work on both the high bar and the low bar. Now she's setting up for her release move. Look at that position. Reverse heck, perfect. Giant, and a double tuck off. One little step, great routine.
Little bobble at the end that may cost her perhaps a 1/10 of a point, but you can see the Alabama Crimson Tide is really fired up for this tournament.
Dee has upgraded her difficulty this year. There are a lot of new moves in that routine, and she's so solid, so precise. Here we're showing that reverse heck. Look at that, very high away from the bar in good form. Here we have the dismount. Following her giant, she's going to tuck and rotate twice and look for the landing. One little step, but a great routine.
We'll have the scores a little bit later on. Dee Foster's best performance in the uneven bars, 9.9. Next up for the Crimson Tide, Gina Bazile, a senior from Whippany, New Jersey, defending co-champion in this event.
Now, one thing we want to look for when we look at the bars, we want to make sure they have 10 elements they must complete, and they also have to work on the high and the low bar, completing at least 2 elements on the low bar. Here comes her first release move, called a Ginger, and she made it. Gina's a very strong gymnast, and they depend on this bar routine. Full twisting giant. And a double tuck dismount. Very solid.
So the University of Alabama opens their scoring with a strong performance on the uneven bars. We are in the first of 6 rotations, allowing each of the 6 teams a shot at all 4 apparatus. Here's another look.
This is just preparing for her release move, working on the low bar. The judges are making sure that they do at least 2 elements. Back up to the high bar. Setting up for her release move. It's called, oh, that's a handstand pirouette, and her dismount double tuck off.
Absolutely incredible strength and flexibility on the vault runway. This is Amber Goforth, a freshman from Dallas, Texas, competing for LSU.
She's going to perform a handspring front worth 9.9. Oh, but 2 big steps. That's really tough. That handspring front is very difficult to land because we call that a blind landing. It's very difficult to set your feet up for a strong landing.
Coach Dee Dee Pollock says her team is in a rebuilding year, and this is one of the athletes she's going to be counting on in years to come.
She just over-rotated just a bit, and she couldn't save it. She's going to get about 2 or 3 tenths off for those big steps.
She'll take a walk back. Each performer takes 2 vaults. You see Coach Pollock there giving instructions to Goforth.
It's so difficult when you do the handspring front. If you hold back, then you're really going to land sitting down, and if you go forward, then you got extra steps. There's so much speed there.
Goforth is a veteran of international competition for the United States, competing in the McDonald's Cup in Mexico City back in 1989.
She's gaining speed. Much better. Look at that.
To the cries of stick, stick from the crowd, she stuck the landing. Amber Goforth from LSU.
She has good flight. Her after flight looks for it, and she sticks that landing.
We move on to the floor exercise area now. This is Danielle Pritz, a junior from Fort Lauderdale, Florida for Auburn University.
Floor exercise is one of the favorite events of the audience. Danielle's starting off great. Let's look at her first tumbling pass. Double pike, she hits it. She has a triple plan for her second pass. We'll have to look for that. Now, one thing that you're going to be watching for, she has to have 3 acrobatic series. Let's see how she makes her triple. Oh, no, she just missed it. A little bit short, but there's no big deduction because she didn't fall. There's a little deduction there. She's showing us her gymnastic series. The gymnastic series contains leaps and turns, really the heart of gymnastics, the sport of gymnastics, but you also must combine those acrobatics. Danielle's going to be one of our top all-around gymnasts in this competition. She's very strong and one of the Auburn mainstays for their team.
You can hear the audience getting into it, chanting and clapping.
Double full, no problem with that. She was just a little short on her triple, but overall, very clean routine.
Danielle Pritz for Auburn University with a few opening rotation jitters, but on the whole, a good routine.
Let's see this triple she's attempted. She's doing a round off, back handspring. She's going to start her twisting a little bit early, and she just doesn't get in a round. She did like 2 3/4, but she saved it.
In this rotation, Auburn.
Here's a summary of first rotation scoring. Dee Dee Foster of Alabama scored a 9.85 on the uneven bars. Her teammate, Gina Basile, answered with a 9.90 for the University of Alabama. Amber Goforth, the LSU freshman, with a fine 9.65 on the vault. And Danielle Pritz of Auburn University gets her team off to a great start with a 9.7 in the floor exercise. We'll have more of the SEC Gymnastics Championships when we return to Baton Rouge. We begin the second rotation of the SEC Women's Gymnastics Championships inside the Maravich Assembly Center at Louisiana State University. Our first look at the highly favored University of Georgia women's team. Georgia came out blazing this year, setting an NCAA team scoring record and 8 of the 9 top scores in the conference this year. We asked the coach whether they're peaking too early.
Well, we scored a 196.9 really early in the season, and I think we surprised a lot of people with that score. It was an NCAA record at that time, and I think a lot of people thought, my gosh, you know, they've peaked so early, they've peaked too early. But actually what I think happened is we just got lucky early. Since that time, we've been averaging, 2, 3, 4 falls a meet, so we really haven't been as consistent as we need to be. And I really feel that this team is peaking right now, that they've had a week out of school, they finished finals a week ago, and they are loose and they're, fresh and they're excited about the championships. And so I really feel that this is the right time for them and that they're peaking absolutely right now.
Well, we'll find out. There is Sandy Roulette, a sophomore from Indian Harbor Beach, Florida, on the vault runway.
And wow, that is a great vault. That's a handspring front with a pike. It's worth 10.0, and she nailed it.
That was the second of her 2 vaults. The first one scored a 9.7. Now here is Agina Simpkins, a freshman, a highly touted freshman from Bolingbrook, Illinois.
Agina is one of the strong stays for this Georgia team. She's also a very powerful vaulter. Gaining speed. Same vault. Handspring front with a pike. It's a little bit short. She had to take a step back. It should be a good score, though. She had good flight away from the horse.
Simpkins, one of Georgia's S squad of Simpkins, Spivey, and Stepp. Coach Suzanne Yocklin congratulates her prize freshman recruit on a good effort.
They have a very strong team. This handspring pike that everyone is doing, the last 2 gymnasts, is worth a 10.0 because it's much more difficult to rotate in the pike position, but these girls showed how to do it.
Now on the runway, this is Hope Spivey, defending NCAA all-around champion.
And a good tumbler. She's preparing. Handspring front with a half twist. Nail that landing. That's the thing you want to do in vault. You don't want to take any steps. She did a handspring front with a half twist worth a 10.0. Takes off, looks for the ground right here, and she nails that landing.
A terrific confidence builder for her team, a team that she has come to lead in only her second year, a sophomore from Suffolk, Virginia, and a veteran of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. Quite the talk of her team, Hope Spivey and her teammate Sandy Roulette, whom we've already seen, are both planning to be married this summer. Spivey right there in June, and Sandy Roulette in August.
Let's see if it's going to make a difference in her competitive career, but now she goes for a second vault. Same vault, and even better distance away from the horse.
A terrific second vault for Hope Spivey from the University of Georgia.
Georgia is starting off so great.
We'll have scores in just a few minutes. We're going to move over to the balance beam right now. This will be Christina McDonald of the University of Florida, a junior from Whitby, Ontario. The Florida team dominated by Canadians, 5 Canadians on the 12-athlete team.
I think that has to do with their coach, Ernestine Weaver, who is from Canada, and she's recruited some of the best Canadian gymnasts to come compete here in Florida. On the beam, the routine lasts between 1:10 and 1:30 seconds. So the gymnast is looking to do an acrobatic series. You'll see a series of back handsprings and cartwheels, and also she has to do what we call a gymnastic series. That's leaps and turns in a combination.
I don't mind telling you, this event scares me to death. The beam is 4 inches wide, 16 feet long, and set 4 feet above the floor. As far as I'm concerned, it might as well be 40,000 feet.
Fortunately, it's not 40,000 feet. It'd be real difficult to dismount from there. She's setting up for a gymnastic series. Back handspring, layout. Oh, can't hold on to it. That's a 5/10 deduction. That's really tough. Every time you fall off the apparatus, you have to take 5/10, and that's really tough for the girls to take. No way around it.
Christina McDonald had 30 seconds to get back up, but as you saw, she jumped right back on the apparatus.
Sometimes you don't want to really lose the rhythm of the routine, so it doesn't do you good to wait too long. Once you get going, you better just get back up there and finish it. She has very good technique. All of her dance moves are very complete. Now she's just taking a little breather here. You shouldn't pause too much within the routine. The judges actually only allow 2 pauses to set you up. Switch split, very nice. Good height from the beam.
Christina McDonald has a best of 9.85 on the beam.
She held onto that one. That's called a combination series where you do both gymnastic, as she did the leap, and an acrobatic combination. She's setting up for a dismount here, and Arabian off. Not a bad routine, except for those 5/10 on the fall. That's too bad.
Now let's move back to the vault runway. We've already seen Hope Spivey, who is the star of the Georgia team. You're looking at the team's guts. This is Heather Stepp, a junior from Mount Clemens, Michigan, her second vault.
There we have another handspring front pike. Very good vault. She didn't land it as securely. She had a little step, but it had good distance from the horse. Heather is a very strong gymnast.
Heather Stepp blew out her elbow in preparation for a meet a year ago. Doctors thought she would never compete again, but here she is. Now on the floor exercise. This is Amy Wynn, a junior from Lexington, Kentucky, for the University of Kentucky.
Now let's see her first tumbling pass. Pike double, she got it around. Very good. When I talked to her earlier, she said this may be a surprise event. She doesn't know what she's going to do for her tumbling passes.
We talked about Heather Stepp's injury. Amy Wynn is coming back from an Achilles tendon injury. She ruptured it. Here she is on the floor.
And this is where you can really feel it when you're trying to land these passes. Here's her second. Tuck double, and she does. She almost stepped out, but she saved it.
The floor exercise area is 40 feet square, covered with a carpet-like material. Provides lots of spring.
And these gymnasts need the spring for the tricks that they're doing these days. It makes it a little bit difficult to turn, but you're glad you have it when you're landing a double back.
Amy Wynn, the leader of a Kentucky team that has never finished better than 5th in this competition.
So she's really have to have good concentration to lead this team. Here she's setting up for her last pass. Double full, very nice. Very clean routine.
Amy Wynn from Lexington, Kentucky.
As you can see, she's barreling down the mat. Setting up for a double back, tuck position, and she lands it. Her legs are a little bit apart. There's a little bit of form break. In general, the overall routine needed a little bit more style.
So Amy Wynn opens the scoring for the University of Kentucky as the second rotation comes to a conclusion. Here are the scoring highlights of that rotation. Sandy Roulette of Georgia stuck her vault to the tune of 9.90. Her teammate, Agina Simpkins, the freshman, 9.80 in the vault. Hope Spivey of Georgia, the national all-around champion, 9.9 in her vaulting efforts. Christina McDonald of the University of Florida with a 9.2 on the balance beam. Heather Stepp of Georgia vaulted to the tune of 9.90. And Amy Wynn of Kentucky in the floor exercise scores a 9.65. More from Baton Rouge in a moment. Rouge, Louisiana. Bob Varsha and Wendy Hilliard with you. Don't forget, Major League Baseball returns to ESPN Monday night, April 6th. Well, make that Monday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Live. The Detroit Tigers will host the Toronto Blue Jays. Then at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, the Los Angeles Dodgers will play host to the San Francisco Giants. And finally, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the New York Mets will visit the St. Louis Cardinals. All right here on ESPN. There is Coach Dee Pollock of LSU, whose team has been racked by injuries and the fact that U.S. Olympian Christy Phillips was ruled ineligible. We'll ask Coach Pollock to pick up the story from there.
So, you know, we're faced with September knowing that we're going to have a depth problem, and we're also going to have a problem in that the power people that we recruited, the really strong scores, or what we anticipated to be our strong scores, were not there. So this group of kids, and we've said it all, I've said it to them all season long, are going to have to scratch and claw, and that's what they've done. They've had a real intense attitude about competing, but every athlete on our team had to compete in the all-around every single competition.
We are in rotation 5. There is Coach Pollock watching her team presently in 5th place in the standings. And there is Heather Stepp of the University of Georgia, leading narrowly in a battle with Alabama for the SEC title.
Heather's really making quite a comeback this year. Setting up for her acrobatic series. Wow, that was nice. Back handspring layout, back handspring.
Considering the strain on that damaged right elbow, she is really doing spectacular things. She already has a 10 in competition this year.
And she's tough. I think she was determined, being out part of last year, and she's a very well-trained gymnast. And she's got something to prove, and she's proving it.
Her best on the beam is a 9.90.
She's doing all her requirements. She's had her gymnastics series. Very, very smooth. Here's her turn. Save that one. Now, the Georgia gymnasts work out 4 days a week. There's a nice move there. I was talking with Darlene Duff, one of the assistant coaches. And Darlene says they have to train with aerobics and weight training. And this is what makes them so tough. She held onto that aerial.
So many distractions going on with 4 events simultaneously taking place around the floor.
Tough double back, nice landing, 1 step, but very solid routine.
The coach Suzanne Jacqueline welcomes Heather Stepp back to the bench. This team has already seen their rival Alabama's best performer, Dee Foster, carried off the floor with a twisted ankle. They don't know yet if she will be back. Alabama is out of this rotation, giving Dee Foster a little time to come back. On the floor exercise, this is Christine McDonald, a junior for LSU from Houston, Texas.
LSU's been having a great meet tonight. They're here in front of their home crowd, and they're really pulling it together, like Dee Pollock said. They're scratching and clawing, and they're getting the scores. Here's her first tumbling pass. Double pike, nice landing.
So great to see the smile light up the face of a gymnast after they get through that first tumbling pass.
Smile of relief. That's what it is. This is very nice choreography. She has very nice lines and a good toe point. Judges are all looking for all those little details that helps you get the high scores. This also would help too. Nice tumbling pass through to a Shushanova. Each routine must have a rhythm change, slow and fast movement, work on the floor, different type of gymnastic movements, handstands, turns, and leaps.
Interesting to compare the music chosen by these athletes for their routines. Some use popular music, some use classical music. One of the Alabama tumblers used the school fight song.
I think whatever gets you inspired to have to practice to it over and over again is what you pick. And that was a very nice routine by Christine.
A good performance for Christine McDonald. Gets a great round of applause from this partisan LSU crowd. Here's another look.
Here she's setting up. Round off. Going right for the double back. She lifts in pike position, flex feet, but she gets it around. It's much harder to rotate in a pike position because you have such a much longer body. But some gymnasts prefer that, showing great flexibility in that turning leap.
That will certainly help LSU's score as they battle with the University of Kentucky for 5th place in the SEC. Reviewing our most recent scores, Heather Stepp of Georgia moves 1 step closer to a championship with a 9.85 on the balance beam. And Christine McDonald of LSU with a great 9.7 in floor exercise. We'll be back to Baton Rouge. Approaching the balance beam, this is Hope Spivey of the University of Georgia.
Hope has upgraded her difficulty this year. And she's the last competitor up, so they're banking on this beam score. 2 switch loops, right into another jump leap. That's the gymnastics series out of the way. Setting up for an acrobatic series, back handspring, layout. Up, holding on to that one. And Georgia's been very consistent this whole meet. Alabama was tough on the balance beam. Only 1 fall, and they are rising to the occasion. Very nice turn with the balance. Balance beam is usually an event that is going to make it or break it for the team. You can see how thin it is, 4 inches wide. And you have to just set your shoulders and your hips. Oh, back to a straddle down. Nice move. This is new for her, what we call a syllabage. Working close to the beam, one of the requirements besides the leaps and the tumbles.
Incredible concentration called for. Music in the background, bursts of applause for other athletes who finish their routines.
Double back, 1 step. Clean routine, full of difficulty.
And a lot of relief in Hope Spivey's face. I'll get it right. I'll get Heather and Hope figured out before the night is over.
Right, it's tough, and concentrating in this arena is tough, but these girls are used to it.
Let's take another look at Hope's routine.
Here she's setting up for her acrobatic series. Back handspring step out layout to another layout. Now she's setting up from a round off, landing on 2 feet. She's going to go up, rotate twice, pull those knees around, and take 1 step.
Great exercise for Hope Spivey. She can now relax. 1 more rotation still to go. Over on floor exercise. This is Amber Goforth of LSU.
Starting with a front, through to a double back. Nice landing, very, very clean. LSU, for the gymnasts that they still have, they're doing a great job. Very hard tumbling, good dance. And they have 2 assistant coaches that are familiar to the gymnastics community, Dan and Dennis Hayden, helping Coach Dee Pollock get this team together. Amber goes for another double back. Wow, barely stands that one up.
Just a freshman, not yet 19 years of age. At one point, LSU had but 5 athletes in the bars competition.
That really puts a lot of pressure on your team. But maybe that's made all these other girls really rise up and get it together when they realize they don't have anybody that they can count on. Each one's got to do it themselves. And here in the home crowd, they're pulling it off. Here's her last tumbling pass. Just a full twist, not that difficult. Should have been a double, right into the Shushanova. Overall, a very nice routine, though.
Amber Goforth from Kemp, Texas, right outside Dallas. Here's another look at her tumbling routine.
She's going to go for her 2nd series, in which she does a round off through to a double back. Tries to pull it up. She's going to cowboy just a little bit, trying to get a little bit more rotation. Pulling those knees far apart, looking for the ground. And she was just almost fell flat on her face, but she didn't touch her hand down, so she saved herself 5/10.
We'll move back over to the balance beam now for Nika Logan from the University of Georgia, just a freshman.
Suzanne has a couple of great freshmen. They both train together in Illinois, Nika and Agina, and they are showing really tough stuff on the balance beam. Switch split into a pike.
Ranked 5th in the nation, just 1 place behind her teammate Hope Spivey, the all-around national champion.
Great series, round off through to a layout. Now some of these gymnasts that are just coming from the elite program is really what's making women's gymnastics grow and become so much more exciting, because they're bringing the whole level of the sport up. It's making it a little bit difficult for the judges. The scores are getting higher and higher, but it's great for the sport. Flexibility and balance, very clean. Now watch this. Talk about flexibility. She does a walkover sideways.
Oh my.
Your back hurts now, I know it does. Hitch kick through to an aerial. They are so consistent. That's what you want, everybody to stay on the beam. Through to a double twist off.
Nika Logan from Downers Grove, Illinois, a freshman for the University of Georgia, and they might have blown this one wide open. Let's take a look at the scores. Hope Spivey from Georgia with a 9.85 on the balance beam. Amber Goforth of LSU, just a freshman, remember, a 9.45 in floor exercise. And Nika Logan of Georgia, also a freshman, with a new SEC record, 9.90 on the beam. Plenty more still to come. Back at the campus of LSU for the SEC Women's Gymnastics Championships, where the drama continues to grow. There is the Alabama bench. You can see how excited they are. Just to the left of your screen, sitting there with the ice on her ankle, is Dee Foster, their absolute ace and the former national all-around champion. She has been replaced in the order after a bad ankle sprain. This is Gina Bazile's second vault. Her first one was a beaut, but that one will cost her.
That one will cost her 5/10 off for not landing, but I think she had a great first vault, and she relaxed just a little bit. So when you got one in the bag, you just go for it.
She will be followed by Shea McFall and Catherine Kelleher as Alabama tries to recoup in their battle with Georgia for the championship. Here's her first vault that came off so well.
She's going for a handspring front. She pulls it around and just takes one step. As I said, that handspring front's hard to land, and she got a 9.75. So you can see the smile on her face. She's happy about that.
There is Dee Foster sitting with her badly sprained right ankle wrapped in ice. Now this is Shea McFall, a senior from Huntsville, Alabama.
Great for, oh no, she didn't save it. It's hard when she gets spinning around. Keep your shoulders back so she can land it, but she's got another chance. There's the assistant coach, Dave Patterson, trying to keep the team together.
As you can see, Shea McFall, a two-time All-American in the vault. Alabama trying to make the best of a bad situation here. Meanwhile, the University of Georgia is on the floor exercise, Auburn on the balance beam, and the University of Florida on the uneven bars.
Okay, here she goes. It's worth a 10.0. Half on, half off with 1.5. But she just couldn't save it. Landed just a little bit too low.
Ready now for her second jump. 9.55, her score on the first one.
This is really difficult. She's going to do a half twist on, half twist off with the front, and that's a much better vault. Worth a 10. She just took one extra step.
Well, that will certainly help buoy the hopes of the Alabama team. Nervous smiles all around. Coach Sarah Patterson congratulates her athlete. Reviewing the scores, Gina Bazile of Alabama, 9.75 on the vault. And Shea McFall of Alabama, 9.60, also on the side horse vault. We'll be back for the conclusion from Baton Rouge. Back at LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, this is Chris Rowdis for the Georgia Lady Bulldogs, the only event in this competition in which she is competing, floor exercise.
But she's a superb floor exercise worker. Wonderful dance training, good form and good line, and good tumbling. Front through to a double back. She saves it. Interesting mix of music. She's starting off with Phantom of the Opera. Nice gymnastics, acrobatic series. Little break dancing. As we say, these senior gymnasts in college are very expressive. Great dancing. Another double back. Landed a little low, but she saved it. Very jazzy routine. All the Georgia gymnasts get their routines choreographed by Russell Warfield out of New York City.
Must be something to wait through 5 rotations for your one moment in the spotlight.
She's coming through, boy. Front with a 1.5. That's an extra difficulty move that college girls get. Nice overall routine.
Chris Rowdis, a senior for the University of Georgia from Fullerton, California, comes off the bench to help her team out with a great performance in floor exercise. Now let's go back to the vault runway to take a look at an effort by Catherine Kelleher of Alabama.
She's a great all-around gymnast. She's going for the front handspring front. Nice landing. She's got to be relieved.
A senior from Cincinnati, Ohio, a 9.80 for that first vault. Now here is Heather Stepp of Georgia, moving out into the floor exercise area.
Yeah, there's part of the S squad Georgia's got. One of their all-arounders. Tough gymnast, just coming back off an injury. And for her first pass, she's going to do a pike, full in. And what a landing. That's the way to do it.
I think this Georgia team can feel it coming now.
They are so tough. So many good performers. Even their freshmen are keeping the team on top.
They will move on to regional competition and then to the NCAA championships. And from all appearances here in Baton Rouge, they will remain unbeaten.
So consistent. That's the thing. They are very, very clean. The coach says she works on quality, and that's what she gets. They don't practice a lot, but when they do, they practice real hard, and this is the result. A very consistent performance from all of their competitors.
Once again, Heather Stepp working on that surgically reconstructed right elbow. In warm-up, she was constantly shaking it, working the fingers on the elbow. Doctors weren't sure she would ever be able to hold her arms straight once again, but look what she's able to do with it.
And she pulls that double back out of the bag. Great routine.
Junior Heather Stepp from Mount Clemens, Michigan, putting a period on it for the University of Georgia.
This is going to be a great year at the NC2As. The gymnasts are so hot. The difficulty is incredible. Here she's going for her last tumbling pass. Round off, back handspring, lifts for the double back, and she sets it down.
I call that putting a period on it, more like putting an exclamation point on a possible SEC championship for Georgia. Let's go to the balance beam now, preparing for her routine. This is Danielle Pritz, a junior from Fort Lauderdale for Auburn University. Still locked in that battle for 3rd place with the University of Florida.
This has turned out to be a very exciting competition between Auburn and Florida this year. All of their gymnasts are giving very solid performances, and Danielle is starting off on beam just that way, showing a few of the gymnastics poses. Here we have switch leap, 2 of them in a row. The judges are looking for a 180-degree split. That's tough to do up on the beam. Right into an illusion. Walk over to an illusion. That's the acrobatic gymnastics combination. and very clean. She looks very confident on the beam, not shaky at all. Setting up for a double wolf turn. See if she's going to do it. She's going to take it out. Round off back layout. Good. That's one thing. The choreography is not set. If you don't do what you think you're going to do, the judges can't deduct. But it makes it that much harder. The double twist off. Nice routine.
Nice routine indeed for Danielle Pritz from Auburn University.
She must have just felt off in the middle of the routine and decided not to do it. Skipped it, and let's see her tumbling pass. She does a round off lift for a back layout, landing on 2 feet on that 4-inch beam. Here she's setting up for a dismount. She's going to take a round off again from 2 feet and double twist, and a very solid landing.
University of Florida came in as the higher-ranked team, 8th to 13th over Auburn University. That may well change in the next round of rankings to come out as the NCAA championships approach. We will stay with the beam. This is Jennifer Sandridge, a junior from Snellville, Georgia.
Being last in the beam means we're setting up for a good performance. Stab leap onto the beam. At 5'9", she's a very tall gymnast, but that actually looks very good on the beam. Nice lines, long arms. May help give you an extra couple tenths there.
Snellville, Georgia, just outside Atlanta. Jennifer might have dreamed of going to the University of Georgia, but she chose Auburn instead.
Very nice single turn. She saved that one. She did a ganger for her acrobatic series before. So far, she's been very, very solid. A little bit of personality there on the beam, Spanish style. Well, trying to save that handstand. Very nice. Combining the strength move there. The choreography for this team is very, very strong, very innovative. If you do smart choreography, you could definitely get all the difficulty in there without always having all the big tricks. But that's a tough one, a full turning cat leap. Anytime you rotate around the beam in the vertical, it makes it that much tougher. It can be easier to do a back flip than a full turn. 1.5 off, and she sticks the landing.
Auburn University, coached by Robert Dillard, who hosted his 300th gymnastics meet for Auburn earlier this year, and he's going to be happy with the results of this SEC Championships. Now we will move back to the floor area, and this is Hope Spivey of Georgia, who has achieved a perfect 10 5 times in this discipline.
Judges are looking for a 180-degree split. That's tough to do up on the beam. Here she's going for her first tumbling pass. Packed with difficulty, front through to a full in, and she sticks it.
Wow.
Hope is taking this very seriously. She's upgraded all of her routines and therefore really pushing those scores upward to the sky.
She has that icy demeanor when she's on the sidelines, but she's a very emotional athlete.
And she translates that into great gymnastics, front through to a double back.
Hope Spivey gave her hometown fans in Suffolk, Virginia, near Norfolk on the Atlantic coast, a very tearful round of thanks when they helped her and supported her in her effort to make the 1988 U.S. Olympic team.
And it's so great that she's continued in gymnastics because it helps the entire sport. She was initially trained at the Parkettes in Pennsylvania, but she's been able to make the adjustment to college gymnastics very, very well. So she's setting up for her last pass. Another full in. Oh, no. Great routine. Can't top that.
Hope Spivey looking toward another national championship with the University of Georgia, and her team comes out to meet her.
I tell you, Bob, with that difficulty, she certainly can do it. Here she does a punch front somersault right into a round off. Back handspring, she's going to do a full in. Double back with a full twist, and she nails that landing.
Absolutely amazing. Hope Spivey, the congratulations of the Georgia team, who it would appear have clinched their SEC championship. And now it's official. Hope Spivey has her 6th perfect 10 in floor exercise.
That's exciting because that routine was packed full of difficulty, and she deserves it.
In fact, she needed that 10 just to better her own teammate, Heather Stepp, who scored a 9.95 in the routine just before her. Here are the numbers. Chris Rautis from Georgia comes off the bench to score a 9.85 in floor exercise. Catherine Kelleher of Alabama with a 9.80 on the vault. Heather Stepp of Georgia, a 9.95 in floor X. Danielle Pritz of Auburn, a 9.85 to help her team's cause on the beam. Jennifer Sandage, also of Auburn, with a 9.55 on the balance beam. Hope Spivey of Georgia with a new SEC championship record, perfect 10 in floor exercise. And we'll be right back to wrap things up from Baton Rouge. Welcome back to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Here are our final results in the SEC Women's Gymnastics Championships. The University of Georgia Lady Bulldogs remain undefeated in their march towards a possible NCAA championship with a new SEC team record score, 196.4 points. In second place, the University of Alabama, weakened by the loss of Dee Foster to that twisted ankle, still eclipsing the old mark of 194.1 with a 194.50 total. Auburn University knocking off Florida. That's an upset for third place, followed by LSU and Kentucky. Now let's get down to the awards stage, where Wendy is standing by with victorious coach Suzanne Yocklin and the Lady Bulldogs.
Well, first of all, congratulations. It was an awesome performance. Congratulations, girls. So, Suzanne, where do we go from here?
I don't know, to regionals in 2 weeks. We have a lot of work to do. We felt like we stumbled a little bit too much on floor and had some breaks on bars that we shouldn't have had. Nothing major, just a lot of 1 and 2 tenthers. But you know, we're real excited that we scored our second highest score this year at the SEC Championships. And you know, that's something we wanted to do, was start out here and then do better in 2 weeks at regionals and hopefully peak at the right time, which is the National Championships in Minnesota.
Do you feel a little bit of superstition, or do you feel a little bit of pressure going in undefeated?
Well, we've never been that before, so there's no reason to be superstitious about it. It's not like we were undefeated before and we blew it. So we are all pretty superstitious, but this has never happened before, so we're excited. And we're the only team in the country that is undefeated, that's in the top 3 in the country. So we're really excited about that.
Well, let me ask some of the gymnasts here about your performances. You guys really were on today. I was very impressed. We have our all-around champion here. Heather, what do you feel about coming back and winning the all-around this year?
It was a lot better than being injured.
That's very good. You're right. And Hope? I think that's very good. Hope, how do you feel about getting another 10 tonight?
Very good. I mean, I threw a new front tumbling pass, so that was really exciting. But I'm so glad that the team won for 2 years in a row.
And team, how do you feel getting ready to go into regionals? Needless to say, they're all ready to go. This has been you all had a great competition. We enjoyed it. Good luck. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Wendy. Well, what was a great day for the Georgia Lady Bulldogs was a bad day for the University of Alabama's Dee Foster. Here's one more look at what might have been the turning point of this tournament, as Dee Foster, coming off a move in floor exercise, stepped back to try to avoid stepping off of the surface, twisted her right ankle badly, and that was to be the end of her SEC championships. Wendy has caught up with her. Here's Dee Foster.
Okay, I'm here with Dee Foster. Dee, we're sorry to hear about your injury. Can you give us a little bit of insight about how you're feeling and what your trainer said to you?
I feel fine. I know that it's just a little temporary thing, and, you know, right when it happened, I just try to think about, you know, the fact that everything happens for a reason, and I was real proud of the rest of the team, the way they came back. They didn't let, you know, my injury get them down, and they turned out some great vaults, so I was real proud of that. As far as the injury, it's just a sprain, so I should be fine in like a week and a half.
Can you describe exactly how it happened?
Well, the 5 people before me got into trouble as far as going out of bounds, and so I was thinking about that a lot during my routine, and I just went into my double back in my second pass, and you know, I was just thinking, don't go out of bounds, and I kind of put my foot down. I didn't put my whole foot down, and it just kind of rolled over. So it's just I mean, it's nothing big. It'll be fine. I'm not worried about it.
Do you know any time length on the injury or the rehabilitation?
I don't know what they say, but I'm saying a week, and that's it.
Okay, well, we wish you the best. You had a great performance tonight before that anyway, but we hope you get better fast.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Wendy. Easy to see from that interview why Dee Dee Foster is such a great champion. We'll be back to Baton Rouge for final thoughts from the SEC Women's Gymnastics Championships. We'd like to close out this evening of gymnastics competition at Baton Rouge with a look at our winners, beginning in the vault, where we had a three-way tie among three University of Georgia athletes. Hope Spivey, a sophomore from Suffolk, Virginia, who scored 9.90. That score was matched by her Lady Dog teammate, Heather Stepp, a junior from Mount Clemens, Michigan. And finally, sophomore Sandy Roulette from Indian Harbor Beach, Florida, also with a 9.9. On the uneven bars, Georgia freshman Agina Simpkins from Bolingbrook, Illinois, came through with a 9.95 effort in her first taste of conference-level competition. With athletes like this, Coach Suzanne Yocklin has a dynasty on her hands for years to come. On the balance beam, we had a two-way tie. Alabama junior Dana Dobransky from Sterling Heights, Michigan, broke through for the Crimson Tide and scored a 9.90. That mark was matched by yet another Georgia freshman, Nika Logan from Downers Grove, Illinois, a former teammate of Agina Simpkins at the Illinois Institute of Gymnastics. Now they are teammates on this powerhouse Georgia team. Finally, in floor exercise, Hope Spivey came back to put the capper on the Georgia effort with a performance that both judges decided was worthy of a perfect 10. Let's enjoy Hope Spivey's perfect moment one more time as Wendy and I called it.
180-degree split. That's tough to do up on the beam. Here she's going for her first tumbling pass. Packed with difficulty, front through to a full in, and she sticks it.
Wow.
Hope is taking this very seriously. She's upgraded all of her routines and therefore really pushing those scores upward to the sky.
She has that icy demeanor when she's on the sidelines, but she's a very emotional athlete.
And she translates that into great gymnastics, front through to a double back.
Hope Spivey gave her hometown fans in Suffolk, Virginia, near Norfolk on the Atlantic coast, a very tearful round of thanks when they helped her and supported her in her effort to make the 1988 U.S. Olympic team.
And it's so great that she's continued in gymnastics because it helps the entire sport. She was initially trained at the Parkettes in Pennsylvania, but she's been able to make the adjustment to college gymnastics very, very well. So she's setting up for her last pass. Another full in. Oh, no. Great routine. Can't top that.
Hope Spivey. Once again, the final results of the 12th SEC Women's Gymnastics Championships. The University of Georgia with a record-breaking team total of 196.4 points, setting down the University of Alabama, Auburn University, and an upset of the University of Florida for third place, followed by LSU and Kentucky. Back inside the Maravich Assembly Center as the equipment comes down behind us, Wendy Hilliard and Bob Varsha with you. Wendy, I think a critic might say that Georgia backed into this a little bit with Alabama's ace Dee Dee Foster getting hurt. But I think Coach Yocklin was right. Her girls haven't peaked yet. They got great performances from everybody.
Well, Georgia was hot tonight. It was their night. For one thing, Hope Spivey got a 10 on the floor exercise. Can't beat that. Agina Simpson, the freshman, was really strong in the all-around, and then Heather Stepp came and took the all-around. So that's that S squad I was talking about. They are very strong, and they're going to be hard to beat.
Georgia will go on to meet top-ranked Utah in the national championships. Can they go an undefeated season?
It's possible. After seeing what these gymnasts are doing, the level of difficulty at the collegiate level is incredible. If they compete like they did tonight at the NC2As, they may be able to take it all the way.
How about Dee Dee Foster? We didn't see her in her strongest events. Will she be able to come back and go for that all-around in the Nationals?
Well, she was in 3rd place, but she was coming up to her toughest events, the floor and the vault, and she's incredible in those events. Now, she told me to the side, she said, Winnie, the trainer, say take a little bit, but I'm going to be back in a week, so don't be surprised if you see her at Nationals. It was a great afternoon of competition. We certainly enjoyed it. We hope you did as well. I'm Bob Varsha for Wendy Hilliard. Thanks for being with us. So long from the Maravich Assembly Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.